and B, 2340.
All right, sir.
Imagine our terrible losses if we had to thrust men against the main islands of Japan in order to meet the fanatical suicidal attempts on our men.
Cut.
2343.
All right, sir.
We as a nation, putting a high premium on human life, could undoubtedly use Russian help under the present circumstances.
Cut. Good.
2349.
All right, sir.
Another contingency was for the Russian army to engage the Japanese in Manchuria with the hope that they'd open the front at that point and engage these well-trained troops of the Japanese.
Cut. Good.
I told Stalin about the atomic explosion, which had been set off on the 16th day of July down in Alamogordo, New Mexico, and explained to him that we had the most powerful explosive that had ever been discovered in the history of the world, and that we expected to use it on Japan. He smiled at me and bowed and said he was glad we had the explosive, and he hoped that it would end the Japanese war. I don't think he knew what I was talking about, because he didn't display any surprise at all. He just thought we had something extra that we were going to use maybe in a long gun, like the Germans had used on Paris.
2317.
All right, sir.
The Japanese have an emperor. They still have him. The situation developed to the point where the Americans, a great many Americans, wanted to have that emperor done away with. But the emperor is a symbol in Japan. He's the symbol of the government of Japan. He's supposed to be a direct descendant of the Japanese gods, and he's almost worshipped as not as a human being, but as a god of the Japanese people. To save as many lives as possible, and I would not, under any circumstances, join with those members of the American government who wanted the emperor destroyed. But the fact that the emperor was so highly regarded by the Japanese people and looked up to would have been a very vast mistake if we had destroyed him, because no telling how much longer the war would have gone on. And what I was trying to do was to save lives, not only on our side, but on the side of all our allies, and to save as many Japanese people from being killed as it was possible to save.
Cut.
2316.
All right, sir.
At Potsdam, the United States government had issued an ultimatum asking Japan, or demanding that Japan surrender. Japan absolutely refused that ultimatum and refused to surrender, after which we dropped the bomb on Hiroshima. And after that, we waited to hear from the Japanese, and they still refused to do anything about it. And it was necessary then to drop another bomb on Nagasaki, which completely destroyed that city. And these towns were arranged for in advance by all the information we could possibly get to show that they were devoted almost exclusively to war work. And that was the objective in destroying them, because they were working to make materials and things for the continuation of the Japanese war.
Cut.
But it was the first atomic explosion. It was a tremendous thing, and it did end the Japanese war when it was used on them.
Cut. Very.
318.
All right.
I decided that our position with regard to the emperor should be clearly understood by the Japanese, although not being a situation that would bind us. This is what the draft said, and I quote, "From the moment of surrender, the authority of the emperor and the Japanese government to rule the state shall be subject to the supreme command of the Allied powers."
Cut.
The Russians, when they found they couldn't deal with me on the subject of taking up a hand in the government of Japan, tried to work through MacArthur. They told him they'd like to have him set up a situation in Japan along the lines that the setup in Germany was made with the Allies.